Hi friends, it's good old Krusty here, and I am doing my ranking of the last 10 palettes that I tried, but I'm a little late because I was out of town for a week, and just because of how I am as a person. So I've actually tried a few more palettes besides the 10 I'll be talking about, and they'll be in the next ranking. So I ranked these after I did them, but just didn't have time to film this particular video because of other things I was doing. Um, so let's get started. All right, so at number 10, we got this eyeshadow palette that I got in my Ipsy glam bag. This retails for like $27, and I got it in my glam bag, which is $14. So that was really cool. It's this Pear Nova. So a pretty neutral palette we got there. It wasn't too bad, but I'll say I took this on my trip. I went to Phoenix for a work conference, and I took this with me because I can use this as a bronzer and I can use this as a blush. And I found that I like using these for that, but I didn't really care too much for the eyeshadows. They kind of blended away. The shimmers were okay, but as you can see, these two are very similar. I really did like the yellow though. Um, so it wasn't horrible. It just wasn't great. And like I said, I liked it more for what I could use for other options. And so I don't want to rank it higher because I'm not ranking face palettes, I'm ranking eyeshadow palettes, and I didn't really care for it as an eyeshadow palette. Next up, we have from LYS. This is the Empowered palette. It's very shiny, so I apologize. So there's their kind of just your kind of basic neutral palette. I will say part of the reason I don't love it is the packaging. LYS does all sort of triangular packaging, which is cool. It just doesn't work very well as far as like getting your brush in there because the pans are kind of small and just the way they're shaped, that's hard. The pigmentation, so what this made me think of, just one, the color story is very neutral, and the pigmentation was very even. Wasn't patchy, but it was very light. So it kind of reminded me of like Asian beauty. They do much more natural. So I think if you like that, if you don't like a lot of pigment necessarily or really bright shadows, you might enjoy that. It just wasn't for me. But like I said, the mattes were nice and even, not patchy. They blended okay. I would say for me personally, that was a big thing. It was just not a lot of pigment, but also I can see why somebody would like that. But for me personally, that didn't work. And plus, just the design just kind of makes it a little impractical and hard to work with. Um, so number 8, I'm counting backwards, it's tough. So number 8, we have this little palette from Raina. I think I'm saying that right. I originally did get this in a BoxyCharm by Ipsy. And then I got it in Ipsy mystery bag. So I was like, well, I got 2. That's a sign I should try it. And I was actually pretty impressed with the little, so basically it's a quad and then you get highlighter and a blush. And those are nice. And I enjoy this because it's not too crazy where if I'm, say, traveling for one, or I look at this and I want to make a look, sometimes I like quads for that reason. Like I want to do something, but I'm just kind of like in a funk and I don't really know what to do. It's like you kind of don't have a whole lot of choices, which can be a negative, but sometimes it can work in your favor. And this is just a little bit different. This is kind of like an orangey color. It's coming a little more peachy, but it's a little more orange in real life. And the purple, I will see these two shimmer shades are a little similar. I wish there was a little more of a contrast, but I really enjoyed the look I made with it. You can't do a ton of looks with it, but I did like that and had good pigmentation. Just not necessarily like my favorite color story for one. You can't do a whole lot with it, but it was actually, I was pretty impressed. I didn't have you know, I didn't really know what to think because I hadn't really tried anything from the brand, hadn't heard anybody talk about it, so it was kind of like, don't always have the highest expectations when you don't know what you're going into. So I was pretty impressed, and I really do like the artwork and the packaging. This would be like makeup I would travel with because I don't like taking a bunch of makeup when I travel. I'm a more outdoorsy travel girl, not like city travel girl. So I usually don't wear a lot of makeup, but this is nice with the shadows and the blush and the highlight. All right, next up from Odiney, we have the Christmas Eve palette. Now y'all know I love me some Odiney, and I did enjoy this palette. It's just the color story wasn't my favorite. Like, I don't hate it, but that was part of the reason I didn't pick it up last year when they first released it. I was kind of like on the fence. But then I saw some of the looks they created. I liked it. There are some neutrals there. Those blues, they're just not the blues that I tend to kind of lean towards, but they're not bad. There's some really pretty colors in there. So I did like it a lot. It's just not necessarily my favorite color story. The formula was great, as per usual, with my experience with Odiney. And so that was number 6. No, that was number 7. Sorry. So number 6, we got this adorable little palette from Wicked Widow, the Lovesick palette. We got this in our ice cream beauty box. I was so excited. So a really pretty Valentine's Day type palette. You got the lighter purples, a little bit of a deeper purple, kind of like a pink, really pretty shimmers. They have wonderful formula. I love the formula. I love the shiftiness of the shimmer shades. The mattes blended really well. Part of the reason that it's just not ranked higher is just the color story is, it's not totally monochromatic, but it's very purple with a little bit of variation. So that's really the biggest reason. But it's so cute. I did really like it. I was so excited when we found out we were getting our ice cream beauty box, because this retails for like $36, I believe, and the ice cream beauty box is only $25. So you got this and other products. So yeah, I really enjoy their formula. Yeah, and it's just so cute. Look at that. All right, so that was number 6. Yes, and number 5, we have the other Odiney Christmas palette from technically 2022, so the year before. This was just a little bit more my color story with the greens and the oranges. That's such a pretty purple shade, but it's kind of, I don't know, a little bit out of place, but it's very pretty. Love that greenish, but there's just like a hint of teal of blue in there. Red shadow. I'm not a big red shadow girl, but I love the formula. Love the shifty shimmers. I love their mattes. They blend really well. I really enjoyed that palette. So that's number 5. Look at my notes here. Yes, number 5. Just look at my nose instead of trying to count. All right, number 4, we have the last of the What's Up Beauty palettes that I've tried. I've tried the other 2 before. This is the Geos palette. This is the first palette that they released. Beautiful. I love their shimmers. I don't think any of these, maybe this one is like a duochrome, multi-chrome. Kind of hard to tell, but yeah, I think this was a duochrome. They really, I think, went into multi-chromes with their Dragon's Eye palette, which is the last one they released. But there's just, these shimmers are, even the ones that aren't duo or multi-chromes, they just are so shimmery, and I love that. And it's just like, girls gotta shine, bejeweled, 100%. This one might be So, my only like real complaint is that all the, well, this yellow mat's a little bit different, but the rest of the mats are kind of almost the same color, just a little bit variation of brown. I wish there was just a little bit more variety with the mats, maybe a more purpley one, maybe a green one, something like that. So, but it was very nice. And then number three. Number three is the New Zealand Stargazing Matte Palette from Nomad. This was really gorgeous. Sorry if I got the mirror on you. So just some beautiful like multi-chromes, and then there, like this shade, there's some of these I can't pronounce very well. Melogenic Clouds, the Southern Cross here, the Milky Way shade, just really pretty. My only, like, the only thing I didn't personally care, because the formula is great, all the mattes blended super. It was really nice too, because you can use this and this color as a blush, so I like doing things like that, like using eyeshadow for blush, or like I use this one as a highlighter once. It makes me feel creative, even though it's not like that out of the norm. A lot of people do that, but I just feel creative when I do that. So I really like that. But there's like this color, was kind of like, I'm not like super into. So yeah, that was really the only reason. Kind of when you get to these last few, you got to be a little bit nitpicky about why you're ranking what you're ranking, because, and sometimes it's hard for me personally, because sometimes it's just vibes. Like, how do I feel right now? Like, I can look at these pile of palettes and be like, oh, I really want to do the Odiney Christmas one because I'm loving that color right this second and I want to do something with that. Whereas another time I might be like, oh, there's nothing in this palette that's like screaming to me right now. That's just not the vibe I have. I want to go with this little quad because I'm just not feeling creative. So it's hard for me. All right, number two. I'm really excited. The first time I've tried this brand, so I was really excited for that. They've come out with some other really pretty ones since I've tried this, and I want to get them, but I only got one income and one face, one set of eyeballs, so I'm picky. But this is the Element 115 palette from Adept Cosmetics. The one they released recently is like Cyborg Choir. That looks gorgeous. It's on my wish list. So that's the color story. It's very cool. It's just really like those purples, blues, this like tealy green, and then those shimmers, and yeah, it's just really pretty. The color story is right up my alley. There's like no colors in here that I'm like, I don't think I'd ever really use, which is why I put it a little bit above the Nomad palette. But yeah, I'm really happy I finally got to try this brand. Super excited. So as I was going through, and I hadn't quite used my 10 palettes yet, I was thinking, because I think I used these two fairly early on in the process, and I thought it was going to be a battle trying to pick between which of these two would be number one. But then somebody restocked a certain palette, I bought it, and I was blown away. I loved it, and it swooped in and got number one, and it is the Rick and Morty palette from Glamlight. When it first came out, I definitely debated, but then I'm like, I feel like I have these colors, like, just trying to be, a good consumer, and then I saw other people do looks with it, and I was like, oh, that's really great. Did I kind of regretted it? It was sold out. Then I restocked, and so I got it, and I really liked it. Sometimes with these bright, crazy colors, blending can be hard, and it was great. I love these shimmers. So yeah, it just like swoop in and was like, bam. I really enjoyed everything I've done with it so far. I think I've done 3 looks, which doesn't seem like a lot, but when you have all this behind me, it's sometimes hard to use your products. Like I said, I only got one face, I only got one pair of eyeballs, so I also got the highlighting palette, which is really pretty and extra, and I love it. So there's number 1, Rick and Morty. So yeah, what do you guys think of my ranking? Have you tried any of these videos, these palettes? If you did, let me know what you think. What do you think of my ranking? You know, if I have a different opinion from you, it's okay. It's totally cool. It's just makeup. Just makeup, guys. So that was my last 10 palettes, and I'll make another video here when I get to my next 10 or my next 15, and I just don't get around to it because things, life, you know. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please like, share, subscribe, send your friends, comment down below. We have a lot of fun here, and I really appreciate you spending some time with me, and I will see you again soon, I hope. Bye guys.